Oh, that!
In the opening scene, two men, Leland Jones and William Billy Orser, appear. They walk out of a room in a small, quiet motel that seems to be somewhere in the rural Midwest of the United States. One of the men said he would handle checking out of the motel. They didn't seem like they were traveling together. Leland was in his 50s, while Orser was in his 20s. A few minutes later, Leland came out of the motel office, and Orser asked why it had taken him so long. Leland said he had a small problem with the housekeeper, but it was already taken care of. When Leland tried to pour a drink, they noticed the container was empty. Leland told Orser to go into the motel office and refill the container from the water cooler. Orser went inside. He saw a bloody handprint on the counter. The motel clerk was slumped in a chair, dead, and the housekeeper lay still in a pool of blood on the floor. While Orser was filling the container, a young girl opened the door between the office and the manager's quarters, shaking with fear. Orser motioned for the girl to stay quiet, then calmly shot her. In the next scene, the story introduces Tom Stahl, who owns a small diner in town. He is married to Edie, a lawyer. They have two children, Jack, who is 16, and Sarah, who is 10. Tom and Edie love their kids deeply and care for them a lot. Everyone at the diner knows each other and talks on a first-name basis. The town looks like a typical small community in the American Midwest. Jack, a high school student, plays on the school baseball team. He catches the final ball of the game, which ends the match and causes Bobby Singer, a local bully, to be called out. In the locker room, Bobby tries to start a fight with Jack, but Jack cleverly avoids it by using his sense of humor. That evening, Bobby and his friend drive around town with nothing to do, clearly bored and looking for trouble. Bobby and his friend saw Jack and his girlfriend, Judy Danvers, sitting on a street corner smoking marijuana. They decided to bother them, but nearly crashed into a pickup truck. Bobby gave the people inside the truck the middle finger, but quickly stopped when he saw their cold, threatening looks. Leland and Orser glared at the two high schoolers, their faces showing that the boys were about to make a serious mistake. Orser complained that he was tired of small, boring towns and the people who lived in them. A little later, Leland and Orser walked into Tom Stahl's diner just as it was about to close. Leland calmly ordered coffee and pie. Tom told them the diner was closed, but Leland insisted loudly on getting his coffee. Staying calm, Tom agreed and told the waitress, Charlotte, that she could go home. As Charlotte was about to leave, Orser suddenly grabbed her, pushed her into a chair, and started groping her. He told her not to move. Tom quickly understood that the two men had come to rob the diner. He gave them all the cash from the register. But Leland pulled out a gun and said the money belonged to him. Then he told Orser to kill Charlotte to prove to Tom that they weren't just there for a simple robbery. When Orser attacked the waitress, Leland got distracted for a moment. Acting fast, Tom grabbed a hot coffee pot and smashed it into Leland's face, knocking him down and making him drop his gun. Tom jumped over the counter and quickly picked up the weapon. Orser fired at Tom but missed. Tom shot back, hitting Orser 3 times in the chest, sending him crashing through the window and into the front door. Leland crawled toward Tom and stabbed him in the leg. Tom quickly fired back, shooting Leland in the head and killing him instantly. The local media called Tom a hero. When reporters asked for an interview, he refused and went to the hospital instead. His story soon made the front page of newspapers and was featured on local news. Tom had only minor injuries and walked with a limp for a few days. A few days later, while Tom was working at the diner, 3 well-dressed men came in. The diner was busy with customers congratulating him. It was obvious the 3 men weren't from the area. They sat at the counter, and the one who seemed to be their leader, wearing a suit and dark sunglasses, ordered a cup of coffee. He kept calling Tom Joey, even though Tom told him he was mistaken. The man insisted that Tom was from Philadelphia and acted like he clearly knew him. Tom's wife, Edie, felt uneasy about what they were saying and told them to either order something or leave. The leader put a $100 bill on the counter, saying they had just paid for everyone's meals. When Edie threatened to call the police, the men finally left. As they drove down a rural road, their car was stopped by a police patrol. Sheriff Sam Carney was an experienced officer with a serious attitude. However, the three men he questioned, especially their leader, didn't seem intimidated by him at all. They claimed they were just tourists and made sarcastic remarks. Later that day, Sam went to see Tom and Edie to talk about what had happened. Sam warned them that the three men were part of an organized crime gang from the East Coast. He had reached out to his police contacts in Philadelphia, and even the FBI, but couldn't find any record or information about a man named Joey Cusack, the person the strangers claimed was actually Tom. Although there was no record of Joey Cusack, there was a man named Richie Cusack in Philadelphia. He was the leader of an Irish-American crime family linked to those three men. Soon after, the men started following Tom and his family. A few days later, Tom saw their car driving toward his house. Limping and out of breath, he ran inside to grab his handgun, but when he looked outside again, the car was gone. One day, while Edie was shopping at the local mall, her daughter suddenly ran off. As Edie ran after her, she accidentally bumped into Carl Fogarty, the leader of the group of men. He started a conversation and claimed that her husband wasn't who he said he was. Edie stood up for Tom, but Fogarty coldly told her to ask Tom about Richie Cusack, saying Richie was Tom's brother. He also added that Tom was very good at killing people. That same day, Tom's son, Jack, was cornered by Bobby and couldn't escape. Angry at Bobby's non-stop teasing, Jack finally snapped and fought back, beating Bobby and his friends so badly that Bobby had to be taken to the hospital. This showed that both Tom and his son could become dangerous when pushed too far. When Jack got home, he and Tom argued about what had happened. Jack mocked his father for killing the two robbers, which made Tom angry, and he slapped his son. Jack then ran out of the house. Moments later, Tom saw Fogarty's car parked outside. The men ordered him to drop his gun and go with them. When Tom refused, one of the men got out of the car, holding Jack tightly. Fogarty made it clear that he knew Tom's true identity and told him he had no choice but to get in the car and go back to Philadelphia to meet some people. Trapped with no other option, Tom lowered his gun. The men let Jack go, and he quickly ran into the house. When they told Tom to get in the car, he warned them to leave. One of the men pointed a gun at Tom's head. From the second-floor window, Edie watched as Tom reacted instantly. He grabbed the man's arm, broke it, and smashed his nose several times with his palm. Then Tom turned the gun around and shot the other man twice in the chest. It was clear that Tom not only knew how to use weapons but also fought to kill. Fogarty shot Tom, hitting him in the shoulder and knocking the gun from his hand. As Tom fell, Fogarty stepped closer and angrily asked if he had any last words before dying. Tom glared at him and said he should have killed him back in Philadelphia. Fogarty smiled in agreement. At that moment, Jack quietly picked up his father's gun and shot Fogarty before he could pull the trigger, killing him instantly. Tom looked at his son with eyes full of pain, as if remembering another life he had once lived back in Philadelphia. He took the gun from Jack's hand, then suddenly hugged him tightly, showing both gratitude and comfort as Jack broke down crying. That night, Eddie visited Tom in the hospital, crying and begging him to tell the truth. She told him she had seen him kill Fogarty's two men with his bare hands, moving like a trained fighter. Tom admitted that he was actually Joey Cusack, a former teenage hitman for the mafia. Years ago, he left the criminal world after crossing paths with Fogarty, a man who later became a powerful figure that no crime family dared to touch. After that, he changed his name and started a new life as Tom Stahl. Tom also confessed that in the past he had killed people both for pleasure and for money. Even though Edie was shocked and furious after Tom's confession, she still defended him when Sam came to their house the next day to ask more questions about Fogarty. She explained that mafia members from big cities were very secretive and would never leave Philadelphia or show themselves in public unless they were sure they had found the right person. Tom was about to admit that he was really Joey Cusack, but Edie quickly interrupted and kept defending him. Sam accepted their story and left, though his expression showed he knew they were hiding something. After he left, Edie turned away angrily, slapped Tom, and shouted at him in fury. Tom pushed her down the stairs, and the two ended up in a rough, intense sexual encounter, a sharp contrast to their earlier, gentle, and romantic lovemaking scene. That night, while lying in bed, Tom was woken up by a phone call from Richie. Richie made a thinly veiled threat, saying that if Tom didn't come to see him, he would come instead. Early the next morning, Tom left home and drove all day and night to Philadelphia. When he arrived, he stopped at a bar and met a tough-looking young man. The man drove Tom to a luxurious mansion where he met a well-dressed, confident man who seemed truly happy to see his younger brother again. After some small talk about Tom's new life, Richie started talking about the problems and loss of power Joey had caused in the mafia world before he disappeared. Tom, who no longer wanted anything to do with the criminal world, asked Richie what he could do to make things right. Richie calmly said that the only way was for Tom to die. As he turned away, the driver came up from behind and tried to strangle Tom with a rope. But Joey had expected the attack and managed to get his hands inside the rope just in time to fight back. Tom kicked Richie's desk backward and killed the driver along with two other bodyguards using only his bare hands. Richie tried to shoot him but missed. Thinking Joey had escaped through the front door, Richie ran after him with his gun ready. Meanwhile, Joey killed the last bodyguard inside the house and locked the door, trapping Richie outside. When Richie unlocked the door to come in, Joey opened it and shot him in the head. After that, Tom drove home, where his family was already having dinner. Tired after being gone for 2 days, he quietly sat down at the table. His daughter, Sarah, made room for him, while Edie lowered her head, as if in silent prayer,